Welcome to the Laws of Publishing, building your reader newsletter. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back. So last month, we talked about why you need a book. Every professional needs a book. Why just be an expert when you can be the authority, right? We've talked about outlining. We've talked about drafting. Last time we talked about editing. We've talked about readers, different types of readers, alpha readers, beta readers, sensitivity readers, manuscript reviews. We talked about all of that. So where are you? If you've been following along, your draft is, it's already taking shape. You might be rewriting. Where are you at? And today we're going to talk about building your reader newsletter from scratch, like where you're at, like the strategies, your content plan, monetization, and the best tools. Now, if you are a nonfiction author and you're a professional business leader or thought leader, then you might already have a list because these are your clients. If you are pivoting from a business or you're writing about something completely different, you might be starting from scratch. Either way, we're here. So what's the problem? So without a list, your book launches into the silence, right? So you've published a book and where's your audience? You rely on social media, but the algorithm changes and you can't control that. You have no way to notify your readers when your book is ready. And you leave money on the table because you've skipped the most powerful marketing channel possible. That's what we're going to discuss today. So I am so glad you're here because let's jump in. So the solution, build your audience before your book launches, ideally before you even write. For some of you who are going to watch this before you even start writing, hallelujah. So you want to build your list early. It is never too early to build your list. You can talk about, different stages of creating your book. It is never too early to start. You want to create content that engages your readers and keeps them coming back. We talk about this in the book writing, like we call it opening loops. You want to open a loop that you close in your chapters and some that you're going to close later in your newsletter. That happens in your book, but you want to create that with your readers and your audience before your book is even written. You also want to open up monetization options while you're writing your book. And you want to know which are the right tools so you can create and grow your list with confidence. So today's law of publishing is the law of connection. Social media rents you an audience, but you own your list. So build it early, nurture it always, and your book will never launch to an empty room. So today we're going to talk about a 4-part framework to build your newsletter. So number 1, you want to build early. You want to start collecting emails before your book is done. And I'm going to give you a challenge of hitting your first 100 subscribers as quickly as possible. These are going to be the most important ones. And what is your content strategy? You want to deliver consistent value. Is it going to be tips behind the scenes? Is it excerpts? Give before you ask. Sometimes we apply the Pareto principle, the 80-20. You want to build up a lot of currency, a lot of value before you start asking. Very, very, very important. You want to build that rapport. And then, you can do some monetization tie-ins. You can build your subscribers into buyers. You can, if you're a coach, you can have your courses. Are you a speaker? You can have affiliate offers. There's many ways to do this. And tools and growth. It is important to choose the right platform and automate. You can easily automate a welcome sequence. And this way you can scale with confidence. Step 1, to building your list early. Create a lead magnet. I was recently at an author retreat, very, very successful authors, and it was very interesting. Not all of them had a lead magnet for every book. So a lot of them, realizing this is super simple to do. And these are some very, very successful people that didn't have some of these basic things in place. So now for every book, it doesn't matter if you have 20 books in a series, you want to have a lead magnet for each book. So So what is the lead magnet? You want to offer a free resource in exchange for an email list. This is very, very important. It could be a checklist, a mini guide, a quiz. It could even be a preview chapter. And then how do you deploy this with a landing page or a form? Set up a simple opt-in before your book is done. Even with a coming soon, this will help collect subscribers. And of course, you want to leverage your existing network. Email your contacts personally. A text or even a video goes a long way. Tell them you're writing a book and invite them to follow you on the journey. People love to support their friends. So allow people to include them in your journey. And here's, a very simple thing to do. Add a sign up to everything. Your email signature, social bios, anytime you appear in a podcast, an interview, every touch point you can think of is a list building opportunity. So, what is a lead magnet that would work for you? And the question to ask is, how could you best serve your ideal reader early? And another way to think is, how can you prime your ideal reader for your book? That is another wonderful way to think about getting them ready for your book. I'll give you an example. Netta, she's an amazing coach. I love her dearly. So, she sells like a course platform, and she used to have a course making challenge, which was great because that got people ready. So she got her customers ready for her course platform. And in that course, she gave all the options of, all the different course platforms. She had one of them, and she gave the pros and cons. But by doing the challenge of people creating their courses, she got them ready to use her product. Brilliant. You can use this concept as your lead magnet to get people primed and ready for your book. Step 2, here's some content strategies to keep your readers coming back. I mentioned it. Here we're calling it the golden rule, but it's the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. Value, give 80% of the time and ask 20%. So something that is quite interesting that most mortals know nothing about is the author's journey. This is an enigma. Most people dream of writing a book, and about 1% of the population actually do it. So you'll be surprised how fascinating your friends and family are going to find the author's journey. So share the process, the writing process, the struggles, the breakthroughs. Readers want to root for you. They want to feel they know you. So include them. Now, book previews are a great way. You can share chapters, cover reveals, launch milestones. I was just having this conversation with somebody about giving information in bite sizes. It's a client. We were talking about her copy for her design firm and marketing copy for what she does. And, I was like, give me the broad strokes of what you do. And then just explaining it in detail. And I said, yes. So when I talk to people, I say, yes, there's three steps to making a book. You got to write it, you got to make it, you have to promote it. You better believe there's a lot more steps involved into each of those. However, why get everybody into the weeds and confuse you with unnecessary information until you're ready for that? So anyway, those milestones, people are going to find fascinating as you share that with somebody. So nobody has any idea what it takes, right? So including those people, sharing those milestones is going to be quite fascinating. And it's going to be rewarding for you and very interesting for the people. So create an insider feel that rewards early subscribers. That's a very, very important thing. And then, of course, we know you're an expert, but by creating your book, you become the authority. So what are the tips and insights? So how can you deliver like one actionable step per newsletter, per email from your book's topic? Make every email worth opening. Also, there's curated resources, recommended tools, books, podcasts, or events your ideal reader would love. Be their trusted curator. So let me tell you some other ideas here. Sometimes you have a lot more material that can go in your book. So one of my clients is writing a book, and one of the things she experiences are signs from her son who has passed. And there's way more signs than we can put in the book. So her newsletter is going to be a wonderful place for her to write about, give like case studies into these signs. She'll be able to really go deep, even the ones she mentions in the book. Like, let's say we show like one picture. Some of these things, she has several pictures, so she can go much deeper into these and all the different signs. And what's really important is her book is about helping parents who have lost their child of any age. So this is really a valuable thing. So in your book, there may be content, much more content than you could possibly put in your book. And your newsletter becomes that resource for your readers, which is really beautiful. And then another important thing, you want to think about how your topics affect seasonal topics. So like, for example, my books, I have books for every season, the gift books for all the holidays. So there's a tie-in to the holidays. And sometimes you want to tie things in as they're happening to pop culture. So like, for example, I have a book about sympathy. There was a time when Andrew Garfield and Anderson Cooper and even Stephen Colbert were talking about grief. So that was a great time for me to be like sharing the beautiful posts and what they wrote about it, and saying like, yes, I love what they wrote, and this is why I also wrote my book, my sympathy book, about that. So that's an example of how you can tie in when things are happening in pop culture. You can make social media posts, and in your newsletter, you can go deeper into it. Also, you can utilize your blogs for this, which I'll go into in a second. You see what I did? That was an opening loop. I opened a book. I opened a loop. I said, I'm going to talk about it later. We do it all the time. That's an open loop, which I mentioned earlier. So step 3, monetization tie-in. Your newsletter can be a revenue engine. So of course it can help with book sales. You can do special things for, you can launch them first to your book. Your subscribers are 3 to 5 times more likely to buy than your social media followers. Very important. Of course, you may have a lot of the nonfiction people. A lot of them are coaches. They can have courses and workshops that are related to your work. So your newsletter audience, they'll tell you what they need from you. So you could build courses around that. So, you can sell or provide what your audience asks of you. That's one of the reasons I became a book coach. People have been asking this of me my entire life. I finally listened. So coaching and consulting, position yourself as the authority. We've spoken about that. Your list is a direct line for premium clients. Speaking and events. You can, of course, once it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, it's an infinity loop. Your list helps you get engagements and promote your engagements. So a robust list signals authority to event organizers and vice versa. And of course, affiliate partnerships. You can recommend tools that you love and earn commissions while serving your readers. And then you can have a paid newsletter tier. You can offer exclusive content, early access, and community support with a monthly subscription or a monthly subscription fee. Tools. I love tools. I love tools. And there's 2 here that are my favorite. I wanted to include some options, and I want to tell you some cautionary tales here. So I had started my first newsletter list with MailChimp. And once upon a time, some of you may not remember, 2-step authentication did not exist. And when it came out initially, there's always like the beta version of these things, it was connected to your physical phone. Now the technology has improved and it's connected to apps. And when I changed my phone, I lost my MailChimp list. And it was extremely traumatizing and heartbreaking. It was terrible. So that was very, very traumatizing. Then I moved to MailerLite. And again, it had up to 1,000 free. So when I got past that, it was very, very expensive. And then when I moved to Shopify, Klaviyo was great, but extremely expensive. And then when I took a lot of business masterminds, I invested a lot in my coaching. You know, coaches have coaches. I invested a lot in that, ridiculous thousands and thousands of dollars. No, well invested. Let me rephrase that. I invested a lot in that, and I learned from incredible business people, and I found out the tools they use. So I use GoHighLevel. I use GoHighLevel and Substack and I'll tell you why. I found everything else to be too limited, and to simplify my life, I wanted everything in one, a CRM without any limitations. And this Arise has training. So some people say that, oh, GoHighLevel has a learning curve. Yes, it does. And it replaces a ton of tools. So it has so if you know my community, a lot of my websites, my courses, so much is GoHighLevel. Everything is GoHighLevel. We're moving every day more and more to GoHighLevel, because I can have as many users. I can have as unlimited, like admins. I can have unlimited newsletter subscribers. It connects everybody who communicates with me in all my social medias, all of them, all in one place. It organizes my leads, everything. It is amazing. So I love GoHighLevel, and that's what I use for my newsletter. I tell my clients who want to simplify their life, if they're going to use just one thing, use Substack. If they're only going to have a newsletter, if they're going to have courses and they're going to sell products, I say use GoHighLevel. Now, we have a team, so our clients can utilize the team. We have systems for these things, so they can delegate these things. All they have to do is write it, and my team can post these things for them, so they don't have to worry about it. So what I do is my newsletter gets it first, and then I post to my Substack. I rewrite it somewhat because it's different. So I first post to my GoHighLevel, my own newsletter, and then I do to my Substack, because some people that are already on Substack don't want to, the Substack people also get emails, by the way. So different audiences, some people are already on Substack, so they don't want to get it twice. Sometimes I get their newsletter and I'm in their Substack. So something to keep in mind. I told you about these other ones. I personally wouldn't use them. I used to use MailerLite, not anymore. I know a lot of people are moving out of this into GoHighLevel, but I want you to have all the options. So if you're just going to do a newsletter, I would use this. It's free. You can download your emails, which is really, really awesome. They have a paid feature. They have more discoverability options, which is really, really good. This is really great for authors, for writers, people who like to write. It's almost like the writers and people who don't like social media. And if you're part of my community, I have a whole thing on this, on how to use it, how to get started, et cetera. And I love GoHighLevel. So growth tactics that work, you can easily automate all of these. You can automate a welcome sequence, not on Substack. That works a little differently. And, consistently, I would suggest do whatever makes it's comfortable for you. What's also great about having something else here, depends how people come in to your ecosystem. So I have a lot of different avenues, right? So I have life coaching, let's call it, and I have book coaching, and then I do a lot of events. So it doesn't matter how people come into my ecosystem, they will get a tailor-made, a welcome email with whatever lead magnet was promised to them. And then they get into my luminous letters, right? Which is really, really cool. And then my Substack is also, Macarena Luz Bianchi's Luminous Letters, slightly different because, it's different than the people that I talk to that are, within my Luminous Insiders, of course. So consistency, show up regularly, but it's whatever works for you. If you're comfortable doing it once a month, do it once a month. If you're comfortable doing it once a week, do it once a week. Some people do it daily. It's whatever works for you and is going to best serve your readers, and it's not going to burn you out. Because if you're burnt out, then it's not going to work. Okay. So your next action steps: choose your platform, create a free account, design one lead magnet your ideal reader would love, build an opt-in, keep it simple, one offer, one button, write your welcome email, introduce yourself, and deliver your lead magnet. Invite 10 people you know personally to join your list this week, and block one writing session each month for your newsletter content. This could be, every week, once a week, as you see fit. And you will have your downloads. I created some fun stuff for you. Newsletter platform comparisons, a welcome email template, and a lead magnet creation checklist. All right, let's work together. If you're ready, please join my author community. We can finish your book. I can help you write, or anywhere you are in the publishing process. If you're done writing, it's a manuscript review. Anything else, or you're not sure, please book a book consultation. And you can do all of that on my website, macarenaluzbianchi.com, under coaching, or right here. Scan that QR code or go to that website. Thank you so much. We will see you next time for deciding who the publisher is. We're going to cover, the advantages to self-publishing, the differences between hybrid and traditional options, choosing your path, and we're going to discuss proposal and pitch basics. Any questions? Excellent. You can contact me anytime. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.